Perfect. So welcome everybody. This is our presentation by Julia Brown. She's going to be talking about career in communications. So Julia, it's all you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining and learning more about potential career in communications. So again, my name is Julia Brown. So I'm going to start out by walking you through my background so you can get to know me a little bit. So I was born and raised in South LA. That's where I spent most of my childhood. And then we moved to Inglewood when I was a teenager. So I spent most of my teen years there. I graduated from Crenshaw High School. Actually, one of your faculty members, Yolanda, was a schoolmate of mine at Crenshaw High School. And then again, when I went to USC, Yolanda is also a Trojan. So I saw her there as well. And I received my bachelor's degree in international relations with a minor in Spanish. And so once I entered into the professional work field, I then decided to go back to school and work on master's degrees, the first of which was I got my degree in public policy and administration at Cal State Long Beach. And then several years later, I decided to go and pursue a second master's degree in political management. For that one, I actually moved to the Washington, D.C. area where George Washington University is located. And so that's where I got that particular degree. And so that all leads up to where I am today. I am currently a senior community relations manager at LA Metro. And for those of you who may not be familiar, Metro is the major transportation planning agency and transit agency for LA County. And so I've been with Metro, it was 5 years in January. And so that is a little bit about me. So now I want to kind of walk you through my career path in communications. And so I've worked in several different specialties within communications. So the first I'm going to walk you through is public outreach. So what is public outreach? For the most part, public outreach focuses on public participation in the decision-making process. So for instance, when an elected body makes a decision on a land use issue or a transportation issue, in particular, that can be your local city council, your county board of supervisors. Here at Metro, we have a board of directors and they make decisions on our different transportation projects. As part of public outreach, I also brief elected officials on specific projects, programs, or initiatives. I also engage with key stakeholders. And so when we say stakeholder, that is any person that has a particular interest or a vested interest in a project, a program, or an initiative. So when it comes to transit, our number one key stakeholder is our transit riders, but that doesn't exclude anyone because that can also include local businesses that might be impacted by the project. It can include employers, it can include schools, anyone who has an interest in what we're doing. I also conduct public meetings and I attend community-based events. And so with public outreach, our main goal is to engage with stakeholders and members of the public, get them interested in what we're doing, make sure that we provide them with opportunities to give us their feedback, to ask questions, so that we can incorporate that feedback into the project and make it the best project possible. The next field that my career took me to is community relations and support building. So In this particular field, it focuses on building support for campaigns or specific projects. And so you can conduct community relations in both the public and the private sectors, which I've done. And so currently working for Metro, I'm in the public sector, but I've worked for various communications firms in the private sector. And so I've been successful in that arena as well. You'll note that community relations and support building uses many of the same tactics as public outreach. So we do a lot of briefings with elected officials. We engage with those key stakeholders. But the big difference is, and certainly if you're doing this in the private sector, you're working to mobilize supporters to take action. So again, let's say I'm working for like a major retailer, like a Home Depot or an IKEA, and we're trying to build support in the community to bring that type of business to a specific location. We would mobilize supporters, we would get them to attend the planning commission hearing or a city council meeting. We would encourage them to write letters of support to newspapers, to talk to their neighbors about it, to get them to attend and speak at these types of public events. And then the third area that I've worked in within communications is government affairs. And so that particular field focuses on lobbying elected officials to support or oppose specific legislation. It also involves building relationships with those elected officials at all levels of government. So whether that's local, which is your city council, it can be at the state level, which is the state assembly or the state senate, or it can be at the federal level, which would be Congress and the US Senate. That field also involves tracking legislation and leading efforts to support or oppose it as necessary. So for anyone who's particularly interested in politics or legislation, if you like writing bills, if you've ever wanted to know how a bill makes it into a law, government affairs would be something that you would be very interested in pursuing. And so all of that work led me to my current position here at Metro, which again, I joined the agency back in 2017 as a community relations manager. I was promoted last year to senior community relations manager, and I currently work in our operations and countywide initiatives unit. And so what our unit focuses on is more of our transit projects, particularly our bus projects. Many people don't know, but at least for LA Metro, our bus system is the bulk of all of the transit service that we provide across the county. So our buses carry the majority of our riders. And so I've worked on different projects and initiatives such as our Next Gen Bus Plan. And so with that effort, we worked across LA County to reimagine and revamp our system-wide network of buses. And so that was a very comprehensive program. We worked with a lot of key stakeholders, community groups, businesses across LA County, and we were able to revamp our bus system. In addition to that, we're focused on improving customer service for all of our riders. And so I work on that through our bus speed and reliability improvements program. And within the city of Los Angeles, we have been very successful in getting a lot of bus-only lanes implemented, specifically in downtown Los Angeles. We've gotten several of those bus lane projects approved and in the ground on the street today. We're going to be expanding that program to West LA, to South LA, to the San Fernando Valley, through the support of our board and through the mayor of Los Angeles, who is very supportive of that particular program. We're also working to bring more bus rapid transit projects to the city of Los Angeles and LA County as a whole. And then we're also focused on active transportation. So that includes how people walk, how people bike, and how people roll, not only to our transit, but across the county. We would love to make it easier for people to leave their cars behind and use their pedal power or their foot power or their rolling power to get around and not have to solely rely on cars to get where they need to go. And so some of the activities that we use or that we engage in when conducting community relations includes public speaking. And so that can take place at formal public meetings. It can be at special events where you may be asked to speak about your role overall, or it could be focused on specific projects, programs, or initiatives. We also engage in a lot of community events. And of course, this was pre-pandemic, but we would go out to different fairs, festivals, other events. We could be at an information booth. We could just be distributing information to those interested, but it's just another way for us to engage with members of the public on these different projects. There's are, of course, public meetings. Those can be formal or informal meetings where we, again, provide a presentation to a large number of people. We make sure that they know what it is that we're proposing and that we provide opportunities for them to ask questions and to provide us with their valuable feedback. Again, as I mentioned, those information booths, those are another great opportunity to engage with people. That was pre-pandemic. And make sure that they know what's going on in their community and they have the opportunity to provide that feedback. And then we also participate and help support press events. And so for that bus lane projects that I mentioned in the previous slide, this is a photo from one of those press events where I, as the community relations manager, I provided support to our PR team to make sure that they had what they needed to be able to have a successful press event on behalf of our project. So what does it take to be successful in community relations? So I've kind of gathered that information here and categorized it into 4 different areas. So first off, you need to be a good communicator. So you will need to be able to write, to speak, to present, and to engage with people on the different topics, the different projects and programs that you're working on. You'll also need to be a good listener. Part of community relations, a big part of it, is listening to people's concerns, and not just listening, but also listening with empathy and understanding. For some people, they are not always supportive of the program or the project that we are trying to move forward, and they have very valid concerns, valid questions. And so you need to be able to listen and not judge, and then work to get them the answers that they need and hopefully usher them into a more comfortable place on that particular issue. You also need to be a problem solver. So you need to be able to work with different stakeholders. Diversity is key because LA County is a very diverse county. So you need to be able to work with all types of stakeholders, work with your project team or your management, and try to come up with solutions to address any issues or concerns that may arise. And then finally, you need to be a consensus builder. You need to be able to work with different groups to build support for or to reach an agreement on those specific projects or programs. So that's where all of those previous skills come in handy. Be a good communicator, be a good listener, focus on the problem solving, and try to find those areas where you can build that consensus. And so in addition to what I do at Metro in communications, we have some other categories as well that I wanted to make sure that I brought to this group. So in addition to community relations, we also have marketing, public relations, customer care, and art and design. And so our marketing team is responsible for helping us to develop all of the informational materials that we use in community relations to provide information to the public. Excuse me. Public relations takes the lead on those press events that I showed you a picture of earlier. They also put out press releases, and they help manage our relationship with the local media here in LA and LA County. Our customer care team is the first, I don't want to say first line of defense, but they're the first people that our riders are able to contact if they have questions or comments related to our bus or our rail service. We also have a large bike share program. There's a multiple of projects and programs that we have where our customer care team is the first group of people that our riders can interact with to get the information and resources they need. And then we also have our art and design team. So Metro engages in a lot of art at our various rail stations. We have some art at other locations across the county. And then they also design a lot of informational materials related to wayfinding. How can people get to and from Metro rail stations, our major bus hubs? And so basically for communications, there are so many different career paths that you can take. And so I would encourage you, if any of you are interested in any of these particular careers, please let me know, and I can certainly provide additional information on any of these options. And so some final thoughts that I'd like to share with the group regarding my career and your career path. First, I would say, please take the time that you need to figure out what it is you really want to do with your career. And first and foremost, follow your passion. Next, I think it's important to figure out what your strengths and interests are, and then work to develop those. You want to build those skills up, and that will take you far in your career. Third, don't be afraid to try new things. That is definitely how you learn if something is right for you. So I know there tends to be a fear of failure, but failure is how you learn. And it tends to be those instances where we tend to learn the most, and those things that can take us the furthest in our careers. And then finally, continue to learn and refresh your skills throughout your career. Always be a lifelong learner. Don't be afraid to say, you know, I don't know that, or I want to take the opportunity to learn something new, or maybe I do know that, but I want to take a refresher course. I want to make sure that I'm up to speed on what's going on with that particular skill or level of expertise. And so with that, I would thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Julia. We do have a couple of students. So if anybody has a question, you guys can type it in the chat, or you can put it in there's a button that says Q&A. You can use that as well. Either one is completely good, because we're a webinar format, because we record them. All of our students are not on camera or on mic, but they can use the chat if they have any questions. And while we're waiting for any questions to come in, I just wanted to say thank you for being here again and presenting to us. Your information is so awesome. I think your job is really neat and really important. And, you know, especially those connections that you're making with the community and the community leaders. It's awesome, because it improves everything for all of us. And so we appreciate what you do and your time and your knowledge and your expertise and sharing that with us. I think it's super awesome.
Thank you.
And
Oh, yeah, I have a
Julia,
question.
for making time for us and our students. Sorry, Jonathan, I have to say
No worries.
hello to my friend, Julia. As you know, Julia, I'm a big fan of you and your work, and I've followed your career ever since Crenshaw. So it's especially exciting for me to see what you're doing now and the multiple promotions that you get because of your good work.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate your work ethic and your amicable nature to be able to connect with the community and our community. You know, it's much appreciated. Thank you for being here at the second annual career fair as well. So I think maybe you're the only person or one of few who have that distinction, first and second.
Okay.
And we did have it's not a question that came in, but I do want to read to you. So Whitney said, thank you so much for her. She just said, thank you for being here and presenting. So
Oh,
just a thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a quick question, Julia. Thank you so much for doing this. Just for our students out there who are interested in maybe going some type of, I don't know, the metro route or transportation, communication, are there any internship type of opportunities that are being offered in this line of work? Reason I ask, so I originally was interested when I was going to school in high school for accounting, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out that a lot of government agencies offer paid internships. One of my first paid internships is with the Department of Defense. It was with the Department of Defense. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there to just to see, and I know it's probably by county and it's probably more local, but just want to see if you know anything of that, or can at least steer us in the right direction of who a student would contact if they're interested in a paid internship.
Yes, so we definitely have some highly competitive internship programs here at Metro. We also have some entry-level positions for older students or those who may be fresh out of college. That's our transportation associate, where we bring them on to begin their careers with Metro. What I can do, I can send that information over to Yolanda, and then maybe she can share that with all of you. But we absolutely do have those types of internship programs available here at Metro. I don't believe that they're limited to necessarily like if you live in the county, but we do have those available. We also, the agency recently launched a new school. You may have heard of it. It's called the LA Seed School. It's based in South Los Angeles, and it's a partnership between Metro, LA County, and then there's a, and now the organization, the name is blanking on me right now, but that school is focused on guiding students who are interested in pursuing careers in transportation. And so we'll be partnering closely with them and providing like curriculum and opportunities for them to learn the ins and out of the transportation industry as well. So we definitely have those types of opportunities available, but I can specifically send our internship information to Yolanda, and she can definitely disseminate that to all of you.
Thank you. That'd be awesome.
Sounds
I thought
great.
it was also, yeah, I thought it was cool just for our students and our listeners. I wanted to share, I love that screen where you show that there's marketing opportunities, PR opportunities, customer care, and then art and design. So go into it with an open mind. I tell students that, hey, if you work for a company, a tech companies, like the last speaker shared, don't just need engineers, they need great communicators, they need great artists. So
yes, absolutely.
So love that. Thank you for sharing.
No, absolutely. And thank you guys for having me here.
Absolutely. And you got another thank you in the chat. The student who takes the bus and is appreciative of your presentation. So yes, we just thank you. And just appreciate your time and sharing with us. Awesome as always.
Thank you so much.
You're like a veteran now, right?
I'm a veteran.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.